Yes, hello again. Thanks for joining me here on Classic Dirt Bike TV. And as you can see, we're back here in the comfort zone of the CDB TV HQ, which of course is much better than spending 4 days in a canvas tent at Drumlandrig Castle. But it was certainly a fantastic weekend at Drumlandrig, and I hope you've enjoyed all of the videos that I've posted from that event. Now, in a couple of weeks' time, we will be packing our bags once again, and this time we'll be heading over the Irish Sea to cover a 2-day charity scramble event at Cecil Pearson's lovely racetrack. So if you can't make that event this year, then of course you can see everything that went down over the course of the weekend, courtesy of my CDB TV channel. But before we get down to business, I'd like to give a quick mention here to one of my subscribers, and Stephen McWhirter has become the very first person to make a donation to Classic Dirt Bike TV, courtesy of course of that little super thanks button at the bottom of your video player. So thanks very much, Stephen, for your support and for subscribing to CDB TV. So right now we're going to get down to business and take a look at another lovely twin shock machine. So let's all take a look at John Porteous's lovely C&J Fourstroke Honda. And so, as I said, this featured C&J Honda belongs to Scottish rider John Porteous. And this bike is the latest addition to John's collection of old dirt bikes, and I just managed to come across this machine when I was wandering around the paddock at the recent Scottish Classic event at Thornhill. So I thought I'd just grab a few pictures and some video clips before the bike took to the track. But basically the bike is made up from a concoction of different bike parts that have all come together to make it a lovely looking hybrid 4-stroke twin shock motocrosser. But all of the bits and pieces that go into building this machine are of course top quality, and if you're one of those riders who love your 4-stroke thumpers, then I'm pretty sure that you'll appreciate the look and build of John's race bike. So we'll begin with looking at the bike's frame, which is another of those high quality C&J racing chassis, which as you're no doubt aware are all handmade in the USA, and C&J have been building these high quality units for more than 50 years now, and they do have quite a decent reputation for their strength and reliability. Now naturally, this steel swing arm is again all part of the frame kit when you place your order with C&J to supply your chassis, although having said that, I did take a look at their website just recently, and they're no longer taking orders for brand new frames, which I found quite strange. But then again, it could be that their order books are all full, and it may be that they're just trying to catch up on the backlog before taking further orders. Although John did tell me at the time I took these pictures that this particular chassis here was supplied through classic bike builder Rod Spry, and John also said that Rod Spry did all of the work on that big Honda XR motor. And so as we take a look at the bike's engine, and as I said, this Honda XR 500 power plant was completely rebuilt by Rod Spry, and it was also bored out to 520cc just to give it that little bit more extra power. Now the engine's balancer shaft was also removed on this engine, as this is said to make the motor just a little bit more responsive and perky, although other than the modifications that we've just listed, I think the rest of the engine is still in basically its stock condition. Now, as you're no doubt aware, a 5-speed transmission on these big 4-stroke thumper motors, and in terms of their ruggedness and reliability, you'd have to be pretty cack-handed to break one of these XR engines, because most of the time they're ultra reliable, and you can dish out all sorts of abuse to these motors on a racetrack and they would still be running when a lesser power plant would maybe by that time be dead and buried. But a standard wet multi-plate clutch is fitted here, which if required can also be upgraded to handle any extra power that you may try to squeeze out of its internals. But if you're looking for a good, solid, reliable engine to power your twin-shock dirt bike, then these XR motors deliver in every respect. Now, just in case you're maybe unaware, although this motor is a single cylinder, it does have a twin exhaust port cylinder head, which has these two header pipes running into a single mid-section and tailpipe at the rear. And this stainless steel exhaust system on John's bike is a custom-made unit by JEK Fabrications from Chard in Somerset, who manufacture all manner of exhaust systems, not only for motorcycles but for high-performance cars as well. But again, these pipes are the best of quality and certainly look the part bolted on to this C&J Twinshocker, and you can just imagine what kind of brap comes out of this big megaphone tailpipe when that 500 or 520 Honda engine gets fired into life. So as we get to some of the other parts on this machine now, although you can't see it here, there's a decent sized Mikuni carburetor feeding that Honda engine just behind this side panel with the imitation carbon fibre graphic on the side, and the plastic airbox also has a stock washable foam filter inside that can be removed and cleaned for routine servicing. But once again, it's nice to see a bike with a decent set of wide footrests bolted on to the chassis, as it is a bit of a bugbear with me when you see those very skinny foot pegs that manufacturers bolt on to their motorcycle frames. But I have to say that these ones on John's C&J chassis are just perfect, as you can see. Now, once again, because this is a hybrid motocrosser, it has many different parts from other kinds of motorcycles, and at this front end of the bike we have a set of forks taken from a Yamaha, which was the last model of the old drum brake bikes, prior to, of course, Yamaha then moving on to disc brakes at the front. Now, the hubs again are Yamaha items on both the front and the rear wheels, and this front brake is also the twin leading shoe variety, which for their day had decent stopping power for an old school drum brake system. And again, the bike's wheels are a pair of black alloy anodized Tagasago XL rims, which naturally have been relaced onto those Yamaha hubs. But I suppose if you're going to build a bike for off-road racing, then you're going to want to have to fit a decent pair of rear suspension units on the back to cope with the demands of even the bumpiest of racetracks. And as you can see here, that John's bike has a pair of very good quality Swedish-made Öhlins piggyback units. Now, these Öhlins suspension systems are about perfect for this big 520 C&J Honda, because They're highly tunable for the rider's weight and riding style, and of course there's plenty scope for adjusting the rebound and damping, and what's more, they're completely all rebuildable for any maintenance and servicing that may be required. Now, once more, this alloy fuel tank on John's C&J Honda may look familiar to you if you're the owner of a Honda Red Rocket, because this fuel cell's been taken from a 1979 model, although naturally it's now been painted black to fit in with the rest of the bike. But I'm pretty sure that these tanks held around a couple of gallons of gas back in the day, which will probably be more than enough fuel to feed that big Honda four-stroke motor on even the longest of racing motos. Now, the bike's seat once again has been taken from a 1979 Honda Red Rocket, and this has been completely refurbished with a brand new top cover and of course those nice C&J graphics that are stamped onto its side. Now, I do have to admit that it doesn't look like it has too much in the way of padding to help absorb some of those larger bumps in the racetrack, but at the end of the day, this is still a motocross motorcycle racing seat, so I expect overall comfort is not really a factor, but it's still good enough to rest your backside on between the whoops. Now, most of the plastics on our C&J 520, including the front and this rear mudguard, are M. Robert parts, but whether these are of course the originals or remanufactured pattern parts, I'm not entirely sure, but they still have the M. Robert logo moulded into the plastic, so they could quite well be authentic plastic parts. And so as we move on to the business end of John's Honda, we have a pair of modern style Renthal handlebars with their additional crossbar brace and that Renthal bar pad as well. Now, a nice pair of Pro Grip rubber grips are also fitted, along with an engine kill switch and of course that all important engine decompressor lever, just to help you kick over that big 520 Honda four-stroke engine. Now, both the clutch and front brake levers are once again good quality Magura alloy items, and these once more come with their lever covers just to try and help keep dust and dirt and moisture from entering the internal workings of those control cables. Now, the all-important throttle gasser here is an FRP item, which is supplied by Foxy Race Products, who normally specialise in supplying parts for speedway motorcycles. But again, this is another very high quality product by FRP, and this will help control all of those horses that are just dying to be let loose on that big 520cc Honda engine. Although you have to admit that this is still a cracking looking machine, this C&J Honda of John's, and as I said, if you're a fan of these big single cylinder four bangers and these Honda XR engines in particular, then I'm pretty sure that you'll appreciate the work that's gone into putting this bike together. But of course, John had absolutely nothing to do with the build of the bike, but he's still more than happy to be the brand new owner. Although, having said that, if I was personally the owner of this bike, I think the only thing that I would change would be maybe to swap those black XL wheels for a nice set of gold anodized ones, which I think would go great with the black colour scheme of this bike and those nice gold coloured Öhlins rear shocks, because as you're no doubt aware, I'm not really a fan of black wheels on an older twin shock bike, but that's not a criticism of the machine, it's just my very own personal view. So we've had a quick look at John's new race bike, and although I never got to hear the bike start up on the day, I did manage to grab a few clips of it on the track during the practice session. Well, there you have it. I do hope you enjoyed that walk around John Porteous's lovely four-stroke Honda, and if you're a lover of these big single-cylinder thumpers, then I'm sure you will have appreciated that particular bike. But as I said, next up here on Classic Dirt Bike TV, we'll be packing our bags and heading over the Irish Sea to cover that 2-day charity scramble event at Cecil Pearson's racetrack. And if you can't make that event, of course, you can see everything that went down over the course of the 2 days right here, courtesy of my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, then please consider doing that, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos that I post. But once again, thanks for retuning to my channel and for your many comments on my video postings. So until the next time, everybody out there, look after yourself, and we'll speak again very soon.